Instagram focuses on all the wrong things. Like, they came out with the announcement this week. They're focused on every video becoming a reel. They want people to pump out more videos.
Yeah.
They're basically just trying to be TikTok.
Yeah.
Like, that's essentially what they're trying to do. They're like, forget the algorithm that we built. We're just going to do this whole For You page, and the algorithm's going to serve you. My first thought was, shit, what does this mean for ads? But I realized the ads will still be there. Thank God. It's also Facebook.
Yeah.
And this is Limited Supply, the place for refreshingly real takes on what D2C is really like.
We're your hosts, Nik and Moiz. Let's start talking about money. I love how TapCart's mobile app allows merchants to grow revenue, optimize marketing spend, and increase customer lifetime value.
One feature I love about TapCart is the ability to drag and drop. As somebody who knows nothing about how to code or where to even start if I wanted to start coding, TapCart's drag and drop builder just makes it so easy to build a mobile app.
TapCart created an exclusive 2-month free offer specially for our listeners. Go to tapcart.com/limited. Again, that's tapcart.com/limited.
All right, we're back. Today, we've got a whole list of things to talk about.
Fantastic. Yeah, we're going to go through the best way to drum up cash if your brand is facing some headwinds right now. And I know a bunch of people are as a result of ad changes and supply chain issues. We're going to talk through the Facebook and Shopify earnings reports, which just dropped earlier today. Facebook came out less than an hour ago. We're going to talk a little bit about IPOs of publicly traded companies of e-commerce brands, Box, Grove, and Thrive Market. We're going to get to some outside of the box marketing channels, so think non-direct response. And then we're finally going to get to, if we've got time, Nik's daily report, which is basically his ideal report of what you would look at every single day from a KPI perspective to understand how is your e-commerce brand doing.
Perfect.
But let's get to the top, which is the best way to drum up cash flow as brands face headwinds. And the reason that we've got this on the agenda is we've chatted with a bunch of brands recently that are facing these headwinds. Mm-hmm. Their online advertising isn't going the way that they expected. You know, Facebook announced a drop in earnings. We're going to get to that. Shopify has announced that, you know, COVID didn't bring e-commerce forward 5 years. In fact, it's reverted back to what the original trajectory was going to be like.
Right.
And, you know, a bunch of brands that I know are either struggling right now or possibly not going to make it if they haven't reorganized their cash flow and right-sized their team.
Do you remember like the average office size, like employee count at a company, direct-to-consumer brand in 2017?
I have no idea, but
like all I remember is big Soho offices, 40 people at least.
It was crazy. Like I've seen, you know, brands that are doing less than $1 million per person. That's sort of the gold standard that I look at it where I'm like, if you're doing $1 million, you can have one person for that. Like doing $10 million, you can have 10 people here. Doing 50 million, you can have 50 people.
Right.
But if you're more than that, like you probably need to be a little bit nervous about hiring, especially as the world changes in front of us.
Yep.
But I'm really excited to talk about other ways to drum up cash because I think this is a great conversation.
I've always had this thought too of like, you know, if I had a brand or a business that was facing headwinds or hardships, you know, I would always try to have some sort of like, whether it's a side hustle that the business also runs or something going on the side that's like, I can count on some cash coming in regardless if people never buy the physical product that we're selling again.
Yeah. I definitely did this in my first business was my co-founder and I started a business where we sold alcohol online. Mm-hmm. That type of business is great for events.
Yeah.
And making money from events.
Yeah.
You know, it was a small business. We got to something like a $5 million revenue run rate, and we sold it pretty early, within 18 months of launching it. Wow. But we were bootstrapped, and so we were hard up for cash. And, you know, I remember we were both lawyers, and so one of the things, I don't know how this happened, but a law firm emailed us, and they're like, hey, we want to do an event for our lawyers, or some of our lawyers, and we want you to do like a spirits tasting. Come down, bring us spirits, and have everyone sample some, and do something to that effect. And, you know, we were just lawyers.
Lawyer things.
And what's ridiculous is that, like, you know, these bottles that we've got cost $40 and, you know, you can generally get them sponsored. It wouldn't even cost us anything. And so we'd go to this law firm and, you know, the amount you charge for something like this is crazy. We charged like, I think it was $2,500 or $5,000 to go down there for an hour and do this tasting. Yeah, it took an hour. And, you know, what was ridiculous is the law firm was like, in order to enter the building as a contractor, you need to give us proof of, you know, liability insurance. So I was like, are you joking? We're bringing like bottles of liquor. And they're like, no, you need this insurance. And they needed like a $5 million insurance cap, which no one would even give us.
Wow.
But so I was like, I can't get $5 million. I can only get $1 1 million through this online forum. And they're like, okay, through this online forum where like, you pay them $100 and they give you the certificate.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, do that. And I was like, here's the certificate. I was like, this is so stupid. There's 2 of us. We've bring 5 bottles and there's 10 people in the room. What's the problem here that you think there's going to be an insurance
They're afraid
issue?
you're going to kill their best lawyers.
Yeah, maybe. And so anyway, we did that and we drummed up about $5,000.
And how many could you do of those?
Not many is the problem. It was great for like one-off cash. We did everyone. Actually, we did a couple. Like there was one. God, I forgot what brand it was, but it was like a clothing brand that wanted to do one, and we're like, okay, we'll do a bunch of craft spirits there, and we charged like $2,500 because they were like at $2,501 we won't do this, and we're like $2,500 it is.
Yeah.
We did everyone that we could do, where someone reached out to us and they're like, hey, sponsor this or like come and do this.
Yeah.
Then we started doing our own. We would throw this event every year in New York City where we would charge brands and we charge them, $500 a table,
Yeah.
up to $1,000
These
a
are
table.
alcohol brands?
Alcohol brands to come and like pour their spirits.
Got it.
Then we would charge like, $50 to $60 for consumers to come over and
love
like
this.
taste it. So we're charging
Just pure
both sides. It was pure profit, but that one was a lot of work because we'd have like, 300 people in there. We'd have to sell tickets. We'd have to drum up enough interest
Do you
in
have
the
to
tickets.
get licenses because there's alcohol involved?
We didn't because what we'd do is we go to an event space that had the license for us.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of times we do it at Houston Hall.
Got
do you know
it.
where that is? It's like
No.
it's on Houston and like it's this big event space and like they would have food and they'd give us the venue. So and they were already licensed to sell alcohol and serve alcohol.
That's
So we
awesome.
could just use that and like we probably made $10,000 or $15,000 per event.
Yeah,
which
that's
is once
great.
a year, which is great. It
Yeah.
was just a ton of work.
Yeah.
But those are great opportunities for brands to make money. Like,
Totally.
I bet Native could have done stuff like that. We never did it with that brand, but like,
Yeah.
do Native at events where we're like, look, we've made cocktails that are like our deodorants. Come and sample them, get free deodorants.
Yeah.
And we charge several $1,000s a brand, especially in San Francisco,
Yeah.
where you can charge a lot of money because people are VC
They
backed.
just have money.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But what are some other ideas though?
So one that I've always thought is a newsletter. So the first time I thought about this was when we worked with Orgain Protein. And I was like, this founder, his name is Andrew. He has such a cool story as to how Orgain started. Like one, this guy should have his own stream of content that goes out just because he's so like smart. He's a smart guy, medically and business wise. He built this business from scratch,
Amazing.
basically sold it twice, first to like PE and second time to Nestle. And, I was like, how does this guy not have at least a newsletter of just his thoughts on the world of wellness or like, and it could either be B2B, to distributors and whatever, people who work in the industry, or it could be to the average person who's just like, I just want to hear what's going on in wellness and in health from a guy who's like the best person to hear it
Yeah.
from. And I remember telling him this and I was like, first of all, you could just say this in a voice memo and it would take you a minute and a half. And then somebody else can just write it for you.
Yeah.
And you can use, Beehive to go send it. Or you could write it yourself. And, this is basically like the best, like this is always going to be ad space for Orgain.
Yeah.
Or you could always sell ad space.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
you
So you're
could
talking
drum up
about
ad
a side
space.
hustle for an individual, not the business. Like
No, but I also think for the business, like I also think that, well, it depends on the business. If you're selling candles, maybe not. But I think you could still figure out how to make a separate publisher arm underneath the business. Like
Yeah.
at Hint, we had one called The Quench. And so thequench.com was like the publisher arm that I just created because I wanted to run advertorials.
Yeah.
So like The Quench could have its own newsletter and its own social channels and everything.
Yeah.
And I think you could treat it like a publisher and it could go out and,
And
make
sell
money.
ad space.
Yeah,
basically.
because if you got eyeballs,
Yeah.
why not?
Yeah. Coca-Cola wants to buy the ad space.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think the best would be like if I was a founder, I would probably position it to B2B because
Yeah.
the ad dollars in B2B go a lot further.
Yeah, yeah. Because you got a newsletter and you position your newsletter.
It's all B2B.
It's all B2B.
Yeah.
On your rank of income streams, where does the newsletter sit?
Probably like at the highest.
Wow.
But it's because like I cannot take out from others.
What does that mean?
So like I don't have to take money out of the business from other companies. I can just rely on the newsletter
Yeah,
for
gotcha,
my
gotcha.
income.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
So you're sending out the newsletter. It's a Nick Sharma, newsletter.
Yeah, every Sunday.
And how often, is it hard to drum up sponsorships for that kind of stuff or not really?
No, it wasn't that hard. Honestly, most people don't ask. And so I have a couple other friends who also started doing a newsletter. I was like, have you gotten any sponsors? And they're like, well, we only got like 5,000 readers. I'm like, dude, you could go sell that for probably $2,500.
Yeah.
That's like 5,000 meaningful eyeballs.
Yeah.
Is a lot of money to a business, you know?
Yeah.
Like whenever we throw our events in New York, one sponsor might pay tens of thousands of dollars for that one night. And then if they get one client out of that, that makes up 5 times over what they paid for the event, right? So in B2B, the dollars are just so much bigger.
For sure.
But yeah, getting sponsorships was not that hard.
And are they generally inbound now? They're generally inbound,
At this point, it's pretty much inbound. Unless, like we, for example, with Sharma Brands, we're switching to JustWorks. And I'm like, damn, this is like, I don't know, 20 grand. And I just email Workweek and I'm like, let's go get JustWorks as a sponsor. I want them to pay me back.
That's awesome.
So yeah, so sometimes there's companies that are just really expensive. And I tell Workweek, like, let's go get them as a sponsor so I don't feel bad paying it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. That's really impressive. The number, like every Sunday I open up my Twitter and I'm like, is Nik Sharma trending now or what's going on? Everything is about your email newsletter on Sunday nights. I have no idea. I mean, obviously I'm sure we follow the same people on Twitter. People. Yeah, but it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And really impressive that you've been able to build that out.
Thank you. Yeah. It's honestly, sometimes it's really fun to write. The thing is like in the shower.
Yeah.
On Sundays, that's like when the outline of this whole thing gets downloaded in my brain. Like I can just see the full outline.
Yeah.
If that doesn't happen, it's like a 2-hour process where I'm just sitting and scrolling the internet, trying to think of something.
Yeah. And how long does it take you to type it out actually?
On average, like 3 hours.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a decent amount of time.
Yeah. But so newsletters are really hard, especially to stay consistent. But there's this example I put here in our Google Doc. So 247health.com. If you click it and then you go to the Daily Tonic on the top. So the Daily Tonic, it's basically I'm going to read the description. The Daily Tonic is a 2 to 5 minute daily newsletter sharing science-backed health news and tips. It's basically like morning brew for health, right? Yeah. And they've got 100,000 readers. It's created by the founders. It's basically Gareth and Justin Mayers. Gareth, who we talked about. Yeah. And then at Pila, and then Justin Mayers. And I don't know how they got 100,000 readers so fast. I'm sure they were able to leverage their customer list or try something of that nature. Smart. Maybe run ads to their customer list. But they're definitely selling ad space. Their screenshot down here says Morning Brew sponsored it.
Yeah. Good for them. That's a great idea.
Yeah, and great side hustle.
Yeah, and you're right. Like I think that not enough people recognize how much you can monetize a small audience because that audience could be really devoted. Like I don't know how big our podcast will get, but it'll be a bunch of e-commerce people listening. Yeah, and those are really valuable ears and eyes.
Yeah, 2 other ideas just popped in my head.
Yeah,
if I was Hint and I needed to get cash real quick, I would do this. But I would sell it to like ClassPass, and I could sell that to our consumer audience. Not B2B.
Yeah.
That makes like now a tech company's got a subscription and a much bigger return on these customers.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then the other one I thought of, which already happens pretty often, is do you ever get HelloFresh?
Yeah.
So like the postcard that comes in there, it's basically ad space from another brand. And they sell those as full-on campaigns.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
There was, Naked Wines. Have you ever heard of a brand called Naked Wines?
Yeah.
Their only method of customer acquisition is those insert cards.
No way.
And so they're like, we'll pay you on a CPM basis. How many packages are you shipping out? Great. We'll pay you X dollars for CPM. And far more than like, you pay Facebook. If you're paying Facebook $20, they'll pay $100.
Yeah.
And to put those cards in your boxes, which I thought about for a brief second while I was running native, because I was like, okay, that's a bunch of money. And then I was like, I don't want to ruin the brand here.
Yeah.
But that's a great idea from HelloFresh.
That's not bad. 10 cents a box.
Yeah, they were paying 10 cents a box. The question is like, my brand was so early and so fragile that I was like, I can't dilute it with something else right now.
Yeah.
But their whole business model is that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
HelloFresh's business model is also like referrals, but it's generally like I refer you, like I order and then I refer you. And
Right. Yeah, they're very good in their app.
Yeah.
About retention.
Yeah. The other thing I don't understand is we were talking about this brand a week ago, and they posted that they're going to go out of business soon. It's called Apres, APRES.
Yeah.
They were like, we're running this going out of business sale. We're launching like 30% off or something to that effect. And I was a user. And so I was like, okay, I want to buy some of it. And by the time I looked, they were out of everything they had.
Damn.
And I was like, they had it like 24 hours ago. I went back to my computer to look and I was like, wow, that sale got you a ton of cash flow right there.
Yeah.
I think people should do, not like going out of business sale, obviously, but more like, we're excess inventory. We're running one day 30% off some of this excess inventory. Or we're selling this mystery box. You don't know what's inside of it.
Yeah.
There's 3 items that we have excess inventory for that would retail for $90. We're going to retail for $30, but we're going to move this excess inventory. There was a time in Native where we had excess inventory, and I contacted a men's subscription box called Bespoke Post. And I was like, hey, I want to include our deodorant in your box. And they paid the cost of the deodorant. And I was like, thank God, because either I was going to have to throw this out because it wasn't good it was going to go bad, or you took it and bought it and I got full price for it. So basically I didn't take a loss. And so I think there's a lot of ways to liquidate that kind of stuff.
100%. Yeah. Pop Sugar has a box like that. Bespoke Post. There was one that was just under fire recently for not paying anybody.
Your Touch of Modern.
Yeah, Touch of Modern.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are boxes out there that do pay. I think people just got to research what they are. They basically just look up subscription boxes.
Yeah, and you got to find the box that's valuable enough, and your product has to be good enough, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're putting in a sample size bottle of lotion, probably no one's going to pay you the cost of that sample.
Right.
If you're putting in a full stick of deodorant, I bet you can get $1.50 from it.
Totally. Yeah, that's solid.
Sadly, I think this is going to become more and more prevalent, people having to think about cash flow.
Yeah.
And I think that transitions well into the next thing we want to chat about, which is Shopify earnings and Facebook earnings. Facebook announced, an hour ago, basically, that their revenue was lower in Q2 2022 than it was in Q2 2021. Mm-hmm. This is the first time ever their revenue has dropped from a year ago period, ever. Their daily active users was up, which was surprised the market. And they adjust
by 0.01.
By 0.01. Yeah, I mean, they've got, people are always like, oh, look at how fast TikTok is growing. Facebook's daily active users is 2 billion.
That's crazy.
2 billion out of the, 7 or 8 billion people on the world. And probably of the 8 billion people in the world, at least 20% are probably over the age of 60 or under the age of, 7 and probably wouldn't think about something like this.
Right.
And so that's a lot of daily active users.
Yeah.
And then they announced that their third quarter earnings are going to be short of revenue expectations. Shopify, laid off 10% of their workforce a couple days ago. Mm-hmm. Toby's like, I bet that the world was going to change as a result of the pandemic and that e-commerce would fundamentally change. And he's like, I got that wrong. We're sort of reverting back to what the business looked like.
Yeah, it's like pre-pandemic now.
Yeah, which is really interesting. I talked to the CEO. I remember right when the pandemic started, like in late 2020.
Yeah.
He's like, the pandemic has brought our business up 5 years. We're basically doing revenue in 2020 that we thought we'd be doing in 2025. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And then a year late in 2021, I chatted with him and he's like, the pandemic brought us forward 1 year.
Yeah.
And more recently, he's been like, we're back to, 2019 trajectory that we had initially.
Yeah.
I think it has fundamentally changed. Like everyone has sort of thought, oh, the pandemic would have fundamentally changed e-commerce. And now they're like, maybe we're going back to where it was in the past.
Yeah. And I think it's going to continue that slow growth from here.
What do you think of the Shopify earnings report? I'll tell you what I think about the Shopify earnings before we get into Facebook. I think that Shopify is just focusing on the wrong things. They're not focusing on the software that's right in front of them. They can improve Shopify so that it's more, a lot of businesses start on Shopify, but then graduate, like the best businesses are like, look, we're doing $25, $50 million in revenue on Shopify. Help us. Make it so that the checkout page is more customizable for us. Make it so that there's native subscription apps to make life really easy for us. Provide us the Shopify audiences. I know Shopify launched this Facebook audience thing. I don't know how that's working. That could be work out really well. Make it so that we can do that through direct mail and take a little bit of cut from that.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of ways that Shopify could be leveraging their software in a way that they're not. And I think they're focused on things like they're focused on the SMBs or like really small businesses when they should be focused more on the $10 to $50 million businesses, because that's where there's a lot more juice for them to have, a lot more juice to squeeze. And I also think they should raise prices right away. And I know that hurts a lot of people who use Shopify, but like if Klaviyo charges more than Shopify, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
Shopify should be charging way more.
Yeah. I agree with a lot of that. In fact, yesterday I was thinking, like, it's kind of crazy that Shopify doesn't have all the, like, maybe the nucleus family suite of apps you think it would have, plus maybe the extended family, like subscriptions, ratings, and reviews. How is ratings and reviews not native
built
to
in,
Shopify?
Yeah, sure.
Loyalty was another one. There's just like apps where I'm like, if these were Shopify-based apps, there's also more revenue for them to pick up. Like if you go to a Shopify subscription company, they charge you a percent of the order. Like Shopify could easily take that for themselves.
Post-purchase upsell. Give us a post-purchase upsell and charge a fortune for it.
And then I do agree on the customer acquisition side. I don't think they do a lot to help. Like they announced a bunch of stuff at Shopify Unite recently.
Yeah.
And some of the cool stuff there was like customizing checkout, but it's not completely like, I don't know to what extent you can customize the checkout, but I'm excited to see that. And supposedly it's like very customizable. The other one that they're launching is Shop Cash Boost, I think it's called. So it's like if you have the Shop app, they're trying to turn that into a marketplace where, you could go to long weekend and you could see that if you shop there, you get 10 times more points in your Shop Cash rewards. And I'm under an NDA, so I can't talk about the platform.
No problem.
That looks pretty sick.
That's great. I mean, I live and breathe e-commerce. I don't have the Shop app on my phone when I'm shopping.
I've never used it.
And neither do you. Yeah. That's like,
So I don't know, but like, it does surprise me they haven't tried to take on like Klaviyo or Postscript or some of these apps that make a lot of money in their ecosystem more directly, or just said like, we're going to just integrate you even better. Like, like when you integrate Postscript with anything or Klaviyo with anything, you're like copy pasting an API key. Yeah. That it shouldn't be the case.
Sure.
There should be a much better integration if it's not Shopify doing it natively.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more about all of those things. The way I think about it is, it should be offensive and defensive. And defensive is like provide us more tools to better run our businesses.
Right.
Whether it be, native apps to do post-purchase upsells, which should have existed a long time ago, or native apps to do reviews or loyalty or subscriptions.
Yeah.
Those are all defensive things that'll help me once I get traffic to my website.
Right.
And then it should be offensive, which is how do I hunt down more traffic?
Right.
That Shop Pay app thing, I get it. It's like, Walmart. Walmart would be like, hey, native, in order to get into all the Walmarts, you need to pay us $500,000 to own our homepage on Walmart.com once.
Yeah.
And it got us like 3 sales. And I'm like, this is the cost of doing business to get into all the Walmart stores I want to.
Yeah.
I got to pay for Walmart.com. That's what this Shop app is.
Sure.
There's just not enough offense there. Like there's not enough meaningful dollars coming through there. And I'm not sure why they're not focusing on those things to provide more help to Shopify, merchants.
I think the offense is where they need to focus a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like they've got to help the brands get the revenue because most of their money comes from credit card swipes.
Yeah.
And so they need to help build that funnel to get more credit card swipes.
The way I think about it is the iPhone. When the iPhone came out, you had to pay 99 cents to buy an app to turn a flashlight on.
Yeah.
And then Apple was like, this is stupid. We should integrate this with Apple and make it native.
Right.
And they're like the flashlight apps went away, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that there are a lot of those types of businesses where a lot of those types of apps that went away because Apple was like, we do this better and we're just going to integrate it.
Right.
Similarly, Shopify has done a great job to building an ecosystem, and they should, they want that ecosystem to thrive, but that doesn't mean that prevents them from building anything that exists in that ecosystem.
Right.
They need to go out and do that. And I think that's what, if I was Shopify management, I might be like, look, we're partners with these people. I bet Toby's personal friends
invested too.
Yeah, exactly. I bet Toby's personal friends with a bunch of those guys as well. And so it's hard to be like, look, we're now going to eat your lunch, but you got to do what's best for the business here. Mm-hmm. And what's best for the business is to eat their lunch and to charge more. I cannot, if I was, a private equity firm should realistically look at Shopify and be like, we're going to come in, buy this business and quadruple prices. Yeah. There's no reason Klaviyo should be so much more than Shopify. And I mean, that would suck for everyone in the community, but like, what is Shopify doing charging $200 a month for all of this service?
Yeah.
Especially if they're able to provide more offensive tools. That's,
Do you remember what your native pricing was?
We were on Shopify Plus. I don't remember what it was, but we had our own contract with Stripe and not using theirs. We called up Stripe and we had a personal relationship with Stripe. We got their rates from them and then we implemented our rates onto Shopify.
Got it.
Rather than using Shopify's rates because our rates were better. And we had to give Shopify a little bit of cut, on every transaction, a small cut from our processing rates. But even then our rates were so much better. It was better to use our rates and pay Shopify a cut than use Shopify's credit card system. Which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what's going on with Shopify.
What do you think of their fulfillment stuff?
I think they're trying to solve the problem that's maybe the easiest problem in e-commerce, which is getting your package to the consumer. It's not the most fun problem to solve because oftentimes you're paying either paying for heavy shipping or you're shipping really slowly and you have a bad, mediocre customer experience. I think Allbirds does a really good job of this on their website where they're like free shipping, 7 to 12 days, $10 shipping, 5 to 7 days, $20 shipping within 3 days. Like, running an e-commerce store, I can tell you a lot of people are like, hey, I ordered 4 days ago. Where's my package? Because everyone's used to Amazon Prime like shipping.
Right.
And so that's nice that, you want to fix that. But, there's a ton of 3PLs, and those 3PLs are pretty good at what they do. They know how to put a package in a box. They know how to put a shipping label on it. They know how to get boxes. They know how to manage your inventory. Do they mess up less than 1% of the time? Yes. Do they mess up more than 1% of the time? Probably not. There's some initial hurdles when you walk into a 3PL, but generally those things get resolved. And the prices are like, not that insane, right?
Yeah.
Like no one's paying $30 to ship a cup, right? You're paying $1 to $2.50 max.
Right.
And so I don't know why they're trying to solve this problem that's commoditized and easy when Toby's an engineer. Yeah, Toby's an engineer. Software is their home. Like, do they really think a Canadian is going to beat Jeff Bezos at his game? Like, get out of here.
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos is incredible. Like, has invested hundreds of billions of dollars into fulfillment. Literally more than the market cap of Shopify times 3 to build out a fulfillment network.
Right.
You're not going to be able to do this, or you're not going to be able to compete with fulfillment.
Right.
Compete where you can, which is customized site that offers more resonance between customers and the brands, good reviews and fun shopping experience, delight when I get the package. Compete on all of those things, not on getting your package faster, where Jeff Bezos has won the game in the United States.
Exactly. Yeah. That game's over.
Yeah. What do you think?
I completely agree. I mean, I think today I was talking to somebody, and there's things that Shopify just doesn't cater to. Like, for example, let's say I own a clothing brand, and I want to make sure that when, if my sister comes to the site and she was previously looking at like a top on Gap, that when she comes to this site, she should see women's tops on the homepage, right? Like that's true personalization, as everybody talks about. It's just like, I don't even know where I'd start with that for a Shopify site.
Yeah.
I know it's definitely possible with like Banana Republic, where they use third-party data and then it feeds into your CMS and that's how they know what to show you. But I have no idea where I'd start. Like I think it's the problems like that. It's like the stuff that makes your site defensible and then allows you to go on the offense and really compete with the other 68,000 brands that sell the same thing.
You know what else is crazy? Like Shopify constantly, they have this map up in their headquarters where they're like, here are the sales, and like, it's sort of,
the live sales.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then what's terrible is that Shopify reps will leak data like there's no tomorrow. Like Shopify reps have sold customer lists of like a brand because they have access to it, or like given revenue information because they have access to all of that. So I'm surprised that's not more limited. But forget about all of that. They have access to so much information. Give us a monthly report about things that we should know about.
Trends report.
Hey,
every month.
Yeah, exactly. The buttons, that are red, and like some of it could be gimmicky. Buttons that are red are converting about higher than buttons that are orange.
Yeah.
Some of it could be sales overall on Shopify. The conversion rate has fallen overall on Shopify.
Yeah.
We're not sure why, or it could be this much email, this much traffic is derived from Facebook ads on Shopify. Give us some sort of benchmark metrics instead of having all of this information and providing none of it except through a Shopify rep who's leaking information like a sieve.
Yeah, I agree. In fact, I think not only Shopify, but like, I think every fulfillment company has the opportunity to do that. What was the one I was thinking? Like Ojai, the 2-hour delivery in every major city, like they have a perfect opportunity to do that. Any company that's aggregating so much data, like that is the content marketing that they're not spending money on while they're doing webinars and ebooks and all this other
It doesn't
shit.
make any sense. Like Delta once released this thing where they're like, the person who earned the most miles, or some guys flew 4 million miles last year. He was on a plane for X number of hours, and he, most often he landed in Chicago. That was super, like, it's gimmicky, but I was like, wow, that's really interesting.
Kind of interesting. Yeah.
Like, tell me what else is going on.
Yeah.
Marriott once announced, some guy spent 300 nights in Marriott hotels last year, and he stayed most often at like the Ritz-Carlton.
Yeah.
And this Ritz-Carlton is his favorite. That's super interesting too,
Yeah.
Like, give us some sort of information like that. I'm not sure why so many people miss that opportunity. And I agree with 3PLs. 3PLs should be like, I'd always call my 3PL and be like, hey, who's doing really well? I want to invest in a brand. Do you see anyone growing really quickly?
Yeah.
And there was never any good leads from that. I don't know why I couldn't get any good leads from that, but I was like, this is more disappointing than I thought it would be. But I think that is an opportunity for 3PLs. 3PLs should release a report once a quarter. This is how fast we got packages out. Yeah. This is the average weight of a package, and this is how much it costs to ship that package.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
100%. Like that's good for them. And then they could flip it back to you and be like, by the way, these are the top 5 cities that are growing the fastest for new packages. And this is where the heavier packages go, and this is where the beverages go.
Yeah, it would be so useful.
So
useful.
So dope.
And like such great brand marketing and lead generation for this
100%.
brand.
Everybody would want to look at that.
Yeah. I love TapCart. Low cost, low effort to manage, and gives you more control.
Plug and play means setup takes hours, not weeks. And you'll join a roster of brands on board, including Princess Polly, Figs, and Fashion Nova.
On average, merchants are seeing an average 43x ROI and super high conversion rates.
Easy and no downside to building your own app. Give your shoppers a seamless and VIP experience on mobile.
Start building with their demo plus 2 months free at tapcart.com/limited. Okay, let's switch into Facebook for a moment. Facebook is getting their lunch eaten. And, you mentioned something just before we started the pod, which is you think that, Instagram could disappear in the next 5 years.
I just think that Instagram focuses on all the wrong things. Like, they came out with the announcement this week. They're focused on every video becoming a reel. They want people to pump out more videos.
Yeah.
They're basically just trying to be TikTok.
Yeah.
Like, that's essentially what they're trying to do. They're like, forget the algorithm that we built. We're just going to do this whole For You page, and the algorithm's going to serve you. My first thought was, shit, what does this mean for ads? But I realized the ads will still be there.
Yeah.
Thank God. It's also Facebook.
Yeah.
But all the users are pissed. And there was Adam Mosseri, the head of Instagram, tweeted his video announcing this, and he got ratioed so hard. Every reply was just like, dude, give us Instagram back. We don't care for these shitty meme pages going viral and all the recommended posts that get thrown in, and, an ad every other post, and every, on stories now, it's like back-to-back ads.
Yeah.
Like you'll go a friend story, one ad from one company, another company's ad, and then back to stories.
Yeah.
They've basically just killed the experience trying to focus on revenue. And I'm sure there's some reason that, they switched to all reels and all full screen, basically just pushing video. And it's because they want to get more time spent in the app.
Yeah. Has your app updated to the new experience?
No.
Mine has. Is
it bad?
It's tough. It's a lot tougher. It feels like everything is video.
The tweets I saw were basically saying the whole thing feels like a start and stop experience versus scrolling and seeing what your friends are doing.
Yeah.
And I can't even remember the last time I actually scrolled Instagram. It's just always the stories.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'll see stories from 5 people. I'm like, all right, I don't care anymore.
I was mentioning this before we started the pod, and I feel like memes are have been the death of Instagram, because for a while, Instagram was where you went to go see what friends were up to, and they'd post photos and you'd take a look at them and like them. And then they had stories, which were nice because they were less beautiful photos and you felt like you could produce more content. But when memes started arriving, people my account was probably 50% friends and 50% memes at some point. And those are the things you'd share back and forth with friends. You'd be like, oh, I saw this funny meme, let me send it to you. And those were the things that would go viral. And then TikTok was great. It turns out that people are spending time on Instagram, not as a social community center, but for entertainment purposes.
Right.
And that entertainment can be had from whether it be your friend or really the meme, and we're just going to make memes in different ways.
Yeah.
And those memes are entertaining videos, whether it be, something funny or something where somebody puts a laundry basket on someone else's head, or how to clean your bathroom.
Yeah.
And so
we're definitely on the same side of TikTok.
Yeah. And so they're look, Instagram used to be this place that was social, and then the network effect was friends.
Right.
And I think what's crazy now is the network effect is not friends that much any longer on, there's no network effect on TikTok with friends. It's not like I'm seeing 30 friends of mine post TikToks.
Totally.
I'm just seeing random accounts and accounts that I follow post videos. And so the network effects are just the size. There's so many people producing so much interesting content that it's really good.
And also TikTok,
it's not friends.
TikTok is where the memes now start.
Yeah.
They start in the comments of TikTok, or it's a video. You're on TikTok to make sure you're in tune with culture. There's so many things that happen now where it's oh, you don't have TikTok. Yeah, so you have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah, I think it's I completely agree with that. I just think that Instagram's moat was their network effects, which is you and all of your friends are on there. And TikTok is it doesn't even matter if your friends are on here or not. Everyone,
you're just entertained.
Yeah, exactly. You're entertained here. Yeah. And Instagram is sort of being okay, forget our moat. Let's lean into the entertainment side of things. And that's scary because I'm you're going to lose your soul.
Right.
Because I don't know if I'm not sure if you know how to do entertainment as well as TikTok knows how to do entertainment.
Exactly.
And so that's really scary for Facebook. And I think, 5 years ago or something, they're like, look, there's no more place for us to put ads. We've maxed out on ads. And then like stories really helped. Like Snapchat came out with stories and Instagram copied them. And that really helped boost engagement because Instagram was dying already.
Totally.
And stories came out and they're like, oh, wow, a lot of people are engaging with this content again. Then they were like, okay, we found out a new place where you can post ads. But, at some point, they're going to run out of ad space.
100%.
And so prices either have to go up or they've got to, add more ad space or get more eyeballs. Those are really the only things that they can do.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not sure what Facebook looks like several years from now. I always I still think it has this huge moat of women, both men and women, probably over the age of 40.
Yeah.
Especially
the groups,
women.
I think, is where their engagement is.
Yeah.
And I remember it was either last year or the year before, or maybe it was right when the pandemic started, but like groups were becoming huge. Like they were pushing out of home across the country for groups. And like, my mom only goes on to go jump into groups. She doesn't care what friends are doing.
Yeah.
She's like in groups and learning about things.
Yeah.
And, sending me the best of what to get from Costco and Trader Joe's. Like, those are the groups.
Yeah, yeah. My sister as well. She's like, oh, this is the, gym we should join when we move to a new city or something like that. And she it gets into groups and asks. It's just bananas that is that where Facebook is heading? Like a better version of Yahoo Forums?
I think so.
That's scary.
Do you remember Yahoo Answers by any chance?
Yeah, Yahoo Answers. That's what I meant. Yeah,
One of the
Yahoo
greatest.
Answers. That's the worst. That is the funniest and worst platform I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
Let's jump into a couple of these publicly traded businesses. I really wanted to chat about three: Boxed, Grove, and Thrive Market.
Yeah.
And I want to chat about these three because they're all sort of in the same space. Certainly Grove is a little bit different than all of them because Grove focuses on private label products and more cleaning than food, like home care than food. Boxed and Thrive Market is sort of both the Costco's online. Boxed has a market cap of $136 million today. $136 million, which absolutely blows my mind. Grove Collaborative IPO'd less than 2 months ago, and it's down from $1.5 billion to $700 million. It's lost $800 million in market cap. To be honest, I don't think the market is wrong. The market is pretty efficient about these kinds of things.
Yeah.
I think this might have been something I asked on pod one, or episode one, which is, are IPOs good exits for, direct-to-consumer brands or for e-commerce brands?
I feel like none of them have done extremely well. What about Figs?
Yeah, I think Figs and Chewy are certainly the exceptions, but most of them have not met a good fate.
Yeah, Figs is actually down from opening too.
Yeah, they're all down from opening for sure. There's one company called Wink, which I used to follow. Have you heard of Wink?
Wine, right?
Yeah, they do wine. They used to be called Club W. I think this is the same brand.
Yeah.
They were like a Y Combinator company. They were growing. They were doing $70 million in revenue. I was like, this is
they
crazy
IPO'd
brand.
during the pandemic.
They IPO'd
Smart.
and they're worth $20 million today.
Damn.
That's the valuation. That's slightly more than the valuation YC invested in them 10 years ago.
That is nuts.
I'm not sure what's going on here.
Yeah. Damn, $1.32 stock price? What do you even do with $1.32 share price?
Under $1, they tell you have to either get above $1 or we have to take you off.
Wow.
You won't see any stocks trading on the New York Stock Exchange for 50 cents.
Boxed is $1.96. Yeah, I just feel like these aren't ripe to go public.
Maybe, but
because the goal with so many of these companies is, especially I think one like Grove. I consider Grove a straight Facebook ads brand. Straight Facebook ads. They mastered the arbitrage of Facebook ads tactically, 3 months to 6 months before any other company was doing what they were doing. They were really good at customer acquisition. But the whole thought behind it is the same thought behind lots of beverage companies, which is all right, we're going to raise a ton of money. We're going to burn a bunch of cash. We're going to get a ton of users. And then we're going to sell. And this new parent company is going to optimize everything we were wasting money on: supply chain, wholesale, shelf space, slotting fees, advertising costs. And we're still going to have the customers and the revenue. And that switch or that acquisition will turn us green.
Yeah,
right?
That did not happen for Dollar Shave Club, for instance.
It didn't happen for a lot of companies. But I think that was also then the thought with the IPO. Maybe we don't need an acquirer. We'll just go public and the markets will.
Well, you still need to do all those things. It's a problem. The markets aren't okay, don't worry about it. For instance, Rent the Runway has been around, I think, since 2010.
Yeah.
At what point are they required to make money? before like the market says you got to get out of here. And I think the market has been speaking and saying, hey, look, you guys got to make money soon. Like this is a 12-year-old business. It's mature. You can't constantly be coming back for more dollars.
What's the biggest benefit to going public?
Yeah.
Like, so Rent the Runway, their market cap is $277 million. Why not just stay private?
I think the answer is twofold. One is investors and two is employees. And in both cases, it's money. Like, investors at some point are like, well, look, I want my money back.
Yeah.
And that's a very reasonable thing to ask for. Like, the investors in Rent the Runway were locked up for 10 years. I don't know when Hint Water started, but
2005.
Hint Water started in 2005.
Yeah.
Okay, those investors have been in for 17 years. They've seen a kid's born and almost go to college.
Yeah.
So at some point they're going to be like, my son needs to inherit. My son isn't going to inherit.
My son
needs
stock,
to go
to college now.
Exactly. At some point he's going to be like, my son isn't going. I didn't tell him he's going to inherit Hint stock. I told him he's going to inherit cash.
Yeah.
And so he needs cash.
Yeah.
And so I think
Harvard doesn't accept stock.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And at some point, employees feel the same way too, right? I'm an early employee. At some point, I need liquidity. And so do founders have a little bit better optionality there, and that they can sell stock easier and like take that money and buy houses.
And are there platforms where employees can sell secondaries?
There are. They're all sort of not black market. Black market's the wrong word, but gray market, where it's like, sort of done under the table. Most brands are like, we don't let you do it. Like Airbnb wouldn't let you do it, but people did it under the table anyway.
Got it.
And some brands will be like, that's okay, you can do it. Like Palantir used to say when it was a privately held company, it was like, yeah, you can do it and we'll approve it. Stripe, for instance, I know Stripe says you cannot do this, no selling of our stock, but people still do it under the table. Like I get emails where people are like, hey, do you want to buy Stripe stock, for instance?
Oh, nice.
And like, it's just done under the table.
Yeah.
And there's a couple ways to do it. One is like, one's called a forward purchase contract, which requires a lot of faith. The other is, let's say the stock is held in this entity.
Yeah.
So I hold all my Nik Sharma shares in this entity. And then rather than sell somebody the shares in Nik Sharma, I just sell them the entity. So they own the entity that owns all the Nik Sharma shares, and that is tradable.
Got it.
Which is a clever way of doing it.
Yeah. So Wink. So like they're worth $20 million. Like what happens? You think, are you going to go buy them?
Wink?
Yeah.
No, I'm out of the alcohol space.
But somebody could just buy them.
Definitely someone could buy them and turn them around. Yeah. And I mean, it might be worthwhile to do it. Like, I'm not sure what their sales look like, but you could probably buy them for $30 million. But you've got to turn around that business, and it might need more cash, right?
Right.
In the near future, it might need more cash, and that's the scary part as well. Like Honest is trading at about $300 million, and that's based on it going up 5% or 6% in the last couple of days. $300 million. It's raised probably $400 or $500 million over the course of its business life.
Yeah.
So it's raised more money than it's worth today, and that's a pretty crazy thing that's happened. But okay, let's switch gears. I think that's an existential crisis, which is what happens. And I think, there's a great article by Jason Del Rey, and he wrote it for Recode, which has now become like Voxed.
Yeah.
And he wrote this article about bootstrap businesses and included Native, and he included Tuft and Needle and Movement Watches.
Yeah.
And I think like the more and more I think about life and e-commerce in general, the more and more I'm like, wow, that article was so smart, where he's like, look, good exits happen when you don't raise money, and people should be listening to that advice. And there's a lot of bad exits happen that happen when you do raise money. But, I
also think like, if I was raising money, I would have like 3 plans of how this person's getting their money back, because I just feel horrible for not, for like losing this person's money.
Yeah, I think
I guess after you raise $100 million, it's kind of hard, but like maybe a few million, it's like possible with dividends or payouts over time.
Yeah. I think that's great, but that means your business is doing well. Like what happens when your business isn't doing well and you're like, where do I come up with this money?
Yeah,
that's the hard part. The nice part about it is if you raise from VCs, it's generally not their money. It's somebody else's money that you've never met.
Yeah.
So they're like, you're like, I didn't lose your money. I lost the money you were managing on behalf of this guy. I never want to meet that guy,
Yeah.
Okay, let's switch gears really quickly and talk about out of the box marketing channels. I had a conversation with one of the brands that I'm an investor in about this earlier today, which are like, what are really interesting things that people can do to advertise that aren't performance marketing? First, let me start out and caveat this where I'm by saying I don't know if any of these are a good idea, and I bet that most of them are bad ideas. Cool. Yeah, they're really interesting, and it'll get people talking about you. And it's probably it's probably something great to do if you're trying to sell your business and your business is worth a ton of money. Is do out of the box marketing channels because it'll get people talking about you.
Yeah.
So I guess the one thing I saw recently was on United Airlines. I took a flight, and if you were sitting in business class, they gave you a small mini away travel suitcase filled with a bunch of toiletries that you could use on your flight. This is something that Rimawa did a really long time ago with a bunch of other airlines, particularly Asian airlines like EVA Air. And I'm surprised it took away travel so long to do it, but they're starting to do that, which I thought was really clever.
Yeah.
Basically, a mini suitcase on your United Airlines flight, and you're going to keep the mini suitcase, forever because it's like a cute thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Like I took mine home.
I feel like airlines are super undervalued for direct-to-consumer brands. There's one company, I'm forgetting the name. I'm going to have to look it up and come back and talk about it. But there's one company that actually on JetBlue, if you fly JetBlue Mint, which is their first class, they give you this little pouch, and it's just a collection of D2C brands, like chapstick from one company and like cream from another company. And they're all direct to consumer, which I thought is awesome.
You know what's hilarious? This probably goes back to our original point, which is how do you drum up cash flow? That's probably what JetBlue is doing there.
Exactly.
They're charging those brands.
Exactly. So that's one.
Yeah. Airlines, you're right. Casper mattresses are on American Airlines first class. Muddy Bites are served on Delta airplanes.
No way.
Yeah, I saw it on their website actually.
That's
You're
sick.
right. A lot of people are doing
Friday.
that.
I'm gonna get those.
A lot of people are doing that.
Yeah, and then Une Femme, which is a wine company, canned wine startup, also now on Delta.
Wow, that's
Maybe it's
awesome.
like Delta is pioneering this whole thing.
Yeah, they might be. There was another thing that I saw that was really clever was MeUndies a long time ago sponsored. You know when you're going through security and you have those gray trays?
Yeah.
To put all of your stuff in and you got to take off your shoes? Like they sponsored something like advertising their socks. They're like, don't you wish you had better socks on right now? You should buy MeUndies socks. And I was like, this is such good placement. Like the place where everyone's looking at everyone's socks and you're like, shoot, I've got a hole in my sock or these are mismatched. They sponsored and I thought that was really smart of them.
That is smart. I remember Snapchat did a lot of that too, I think, where they were just like yellow with a little ghost. And because they were trying to get people to use those geofilters at airports.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
But yeah, another one that I had under Snapchat was those kiosks where they dropped the Snapchat goggles. I forget what they're called. Yeah, Snapchat glasses that take photos and stuff.
Yeah.
And they used to drop those in kiosks and they'd get crazy lines.
Yeah, those vending machines, right? They look like vending machines. They were beautiful vending machines.
Super nice.
I bought 3 pairs of those things.
Yeah, I had somebody on opening day buy one in LA and then ship it to me.
Wow.
Yeah, those were sick. And then you wrote Hims here, and I thought about Hims had, I think the first like direct-to-consumer brand to do a plane as well as bathroom stalls at baseball fields, and then even behind home plate, they did a lot of innovative stuff in sports.
So smart, like bathrooms, bathroom stalls or urinal stands for men's products. Like this is such a good men's product to advertise right there.
Perfect.
I thought it was really genius of them.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's like we talked about Arbor the other day with Ben. I wonder if can you mail people a patch of grass?
Yeah.
Is that a good idea for a lawn care company?
Yeah. Or seeds. Or something.
Yeah. Or seed. Yeah. That's a great idea as well. Yeah. I wonder if more people can do things that are out of the box like that. I'm not sure how to do that. But I think more if you're selling your business, I think it makes a ton of sense because it gets people talking about your brand, especially these mid-level executives at bullshit companies that are like, oh my god, look how innovative these people are, and they don't they don't think about ROAS ever because they've never thought about that kind of stuff. So I think it's a great idea. I just don't know if any of these things ever make money. I'd hope they do. Yeah. I'd hope the guys at Hims and Away and MeUndies and Snapchat have always thought about this kind of stuff. But I don't know how you measure those things and whether they actually make money.
Yeah. What's the Manscaped billboard?
Manscaped rented a barge in Miami, put a billboard on it, and then sent it up and down South Beach so everyone could see it.
Yeah.
And it just said, got Bush. And it had a lawnmower on it, like a Manscaped lawnmower trimmer
that's awesome.
on there. And who thinks about advertising on a barge floating up and down South Beach?
Right.
And now I think other people are doing it.
Now there's
this is
companies
really smart.
with boats on billboards on boats that are just digital billboards.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I think it's getting to be bigger. But when I saw it, I was like, this is genius of you guys.
Yeah.
So smart.
Did you see Manscaped is doing a big endorsement with Pete Davidson?
Yeah. I did see
What do you think about big celebrity endorsements like that?
I think of it as the same thing I think of the rest of these things, which is if the ROAS makes sense, let's do it. I mean, I think he's a great guy to do it with and seems like very genuine.
Yeah.
And I really like that about him. In fact, I love that guy. He has so much character and he's just like, everyone's like, how are you getting all these hot women? He's like, I don't know, but it's working. But I really like him. I just don't know how much they paid him. Like, and I wonder how much those types of things cost. Like they also had Gronk from the, New England Patriots and now Tampa Bay Bucks. I don't know how much they paid him, but I think it was like, they seem to be selling a lot and not burning a ton of money. And so I think they're doing something right there.
Yeah, 100%. All right. So should we jump into the daily report? Or should we save that for next time?
Let's save it for next time. Because we got to do the daily. Next time I want to do the daily report and the Andrew Udarian's tweet. Because I think episode 2 and 3 and now 4, we're going to do these things next.
Yeah.
But next time we'll do the daily report. The daily report I'm really excited about as well. Because it's like, what metrics should you be paying attention to on a daily basis? Mm-hmm. And I think not enough people would put retention on that list.
Yeah.
But I think that's really important. But things like open rate, is that important to you? Or does it not matter when you're a big brand at scale? Revenue derived per email, does that matter? Does it not matter? Conversion rate, what about conversion rate of PayPal versus Stripe?
Right.
Do all those things matter? So I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on that next episode.
Totally. All right, so let's do e-commerce brand shout outs. Why don't you go first?
Okay, great. I'm going to do 2. One is this company called The Big Favorite, which I think no one's ever heard of. And they do some sort of stuff with recycling clothing and all that kind of garbage. Not garbage, but actually recycling. And that's great. But the reason I buy it is because their clothes are fantastic. They make undershirts and boxers. And it's basically the only shirts and boxers I ever wear. I love them so much. And no one's ever heard of them. And I sort of don't want people to buy too much because they'll sell out. But I really like that. The other brand, and I'm friends with the guys who run this business, not an investor, not an advisor, nothing, no equity, nothing like that. Same with Big Favorite, is called Otherland Candle. They sell candles and they're really beautiful candles. And the reason I love their product is because they make wonderful gifts. I'm trying to gift less alcohol and sugar because they're so bad for you.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to find gifts that are not bad for you.
Yeah.
All the gifts are
they're all vices.
Yeah. Here's an indulgence that is going to take, days, if not months or years off of your life. Yeah. And Otherland Candle is a fantastic gift that's $40, $35 or $40 for a single candle.
Yeah.
So it's a good price point where you're I'm not shelling out $150 for my friend, but it's also a nice gift that doesn't kill anybody.
Yeah.
Unless you burn down the house.
Sure.
And so I really like that brand as well.
Nice. Yeah. I would say 2 of mine, actually 3, I'll say. All apparel companies. The first one is Western Rise, which is this black t-shirt I'm wearing, and these socks. And they just make the most comfortable black t-shirts.
Really? Okay.
Super comfortable.
I'm going to get you a pair of Big Favorite. I'm going to buy a pair of Western Rise, and we'll see which one's better.
Deal. The second one is Jambies, just because I think if I'm at home, if I'm within my apartment, I'm in Jambies.
Yeah.
It's the only thing I wear.
I love Jambies so much. They have they said 2 things to me that were really clever. One was Jack did. One was Lee's if Nike's slogan is just do it, ours is just don't do it.
Yeah.
They're at home, when you're at home, it's Jambies time, you're and it's such a cute name.
100%.
It's not pajamas, but it's Jambies. It's so good.
Yeah. And so I love Jambies. The third one is, have you heard of this women's brand called Kuyana, women's apparel?
Yeah.
High-end, sustainable clothing, really good quality. But I love the fact that so if you dissect their site, the site theme and the way things are laid out, it's so basic, but their creative is so good. They're so good at taking photos and staying consistent. Their photos that they maybe took at a photo shoot yesterday are just as consistent as their photo shoot from 3 years ago. And you couldn't tell that they were separate days.
Wow. That's pretty crazy.
It's nuts.
I've never even thought about that.
Yeah.
It's interesting that do you do a lot of photo shoots? Is that why you think about that? Or how did you realize that?
So I met with this guy he was a CMO at, I don't think it was Procter and Gamble. It was some large company.
Yeah.
And he was a CMO. And that was one of the things he said. He's if you look up American Crew, that gel that you find at Great Clips.
Yeah.
He was if you look at an American Crew photo shoot from today or 5 years ago or 10 years ago, it's the exact same style of a photo. That's called brand. You should be able to go to Google, search the name, and you see consistency. That's brand over time. And one, I just thought it was a fascinating way of how these older companies think.
Yeah.
That's their KPI, not ROAS and not testing things.
Yeah.
But then I started to notice it, and specifically in apparel, I notice it a lot more. Like Everlane, Kuyana, Lunya.
Yeah.
Apparel companies, it's almost a part of their brand identity to have consistent
photo shoots.
I
guess they're the guys who have to do a lot of photo shoots. Like,
and consistent direction, art direction, and all that stuff.
That's really interesting. It's interesting that's what he thinks of his brand. But I guess, I always thought of it as like, if this brand was going to make a hotel, can you envision what it would look like? And like, if you can, that's a good brand. And if you can't, it's probably not. Like, I can imagine what an Apple hotel would look like.
Yeah.
And I can imagine what a Nike hotel would look like.
Right.
But, I'm not sure if that's always true. Like, I don't know what a Tide laundry detergent hotel would look like, but I know what the Tide brand is.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a bad question to ask.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. I really like their motto. It's like fewer, better things.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting way of putting it. And good for them. Like, that is a great brand.
Yeah. They've crushed it.
Yeah. They have a brick and mortar store in San Francisco. At least they did several years
right
ago.
next to Prince Street Pizza here too.
Oh, here too?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
It's a beautiful store.
Okay, awesome. Next episode 5, Daily Report. Andrew Udarian tweet. A couple things we want to chat about. The subscription apps. We also want to chat about Canopy and how they got a rockstar executive. Okay, so looking forward to episode 5 then.
Awesome. See you soon.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next time to cut through the noise in CPG, retail, and e-commerce.
And if you enjoyed this episode, then why not share it with a friend? And be sure to subscribe on whatever platform you listen to your podcasts on.